Change. The markets, they are largely just shrugging off yesterday's hotter than expected CPI data, likely betting it will not derail the Fed from starting to cut interest rates by mid-year. Excuse me. But some components of CPI, they continue to show inflation remain stubborn. Gasoline and shelter, which includes rents, they accounted for more than 60% of the monthly increase in February. On an annual basis, shelter costs, they were up nearly 6%. Let's talk more about how inflation is impacting the housing market as we're now in the heart of the spring home buying and selling season. We're joined by Bess Freedman, CEO of Brown Harris Stevens, a real estate firm that serves the New York tri-state area as well as Palm Beach and Miami, Florida. There's some great markets there, Bess. Good morning. Great to have you back on.
Good morning. So nice to see you.
All right. So in this report, one of the things we're highlighting from that CPI report is shelter inflation. Just taking a look at it, rose 0.4% month over month, but that growth actually slowed from the 0.6 the month before. Give us a sense. How can we read this? And also want to take your temperature. How's the spring selling season going, both when it comes to inventory and also willingness of buyers to pay?
I mean, the overall challenge we have in housing is really a tightness in inventory. There's a shortfall nationwide. And so that's really having an impact on housing, on prices. And obviously the fact that mortgage rates have doubled since where they were is also having an impact. So that's kind of put us in a little bit of gridlock in housing, but I do think the spring market will be better. We're seeing good product come on, and we're seeing busier open houses. So all signs are pointing to a better market 2024 versus 2023. But it has been a tough go, I will tell you that. Last year was not an easy housing market. All
right, so you say it's been a tough go. I was just taking a look at the mortgage rates, just a few basis points under 7%. Is that just the new normal? We've heard some people say, you say it's a tough go. We've heard some other people say they expect it to be a pretty strong season. Is there a level that we can get these interest rates at that people would be more willing to jump back in the market and also sell their houses? We talked about it yesterday. About 60% of people have a rate under 4%.
Yeah, I do think this is the new normal. We were so used to cheap money for so long, but now I think the consumer has finally accepted and stopped resisting the fact that the 2% and 3% that's gone. And so this is the new normal. Rates are at a decent place. Historically, they're still very low, and it's an opportune time to get in there. And if you see something that you like, I would encourage the consumer to get in there and buy something if they find the home that they like. Rates, I don't see going back down to 2% and 3% for, I don't know when that will happen again. And this is still, as I said, historically very low mortgage rates. And so...
Okay. So historically low mortgage rates, but I think to most people who are looking to buy a house, especially first-time home buyers, like you mentioned, it doubled. It's shocking, this number, almost 7%. Another part of this inflation report was rent. Rents went up basically 6% as well. Does that motivate more people to buy, or is the tight inventory and the high rates, is that the buffer that stops them from making that transition?
I mean, it's all circumstantial, but I think the fact that rents have still continued to go up may encourage people to start thinking about buying versus renting, because at least they're building equity and they have something that they can, live in, raise their family, do all those things, and it's theirs versus renting, which is temporary. And so I think we're starting to see people pivot and get off the sidelines. It was last year was more watch and wait, and now we're starting to see people wanting to get into the housing market and want to invest in homes. We're seeing millennials now buy homes, which is the biggest part of the buying market right now. And so I think all signs are pointing towards people getting into the market versus waiting.
All right, so a last question before we let you go. Inventory. Is there any hope of more inventory coming online? And would that genuinely be deflationary when it comes to prices, or is there so much pent-up demand that people would still be willing to pay up?
I mean, it's a challenge. It's a mixed bag of both. I think inventory, we're starting to see little by little, it's incremental. And remember, the housing market is cyclical. It's not linear. It takes time. And little by little, we're starting to see more come on the market as sellers and buyers are acknowledging that this is where rates are. And if they have to sell or they have to buy, they have to get into the market. So it's going to take time for that deflationary, as you mentioned, to take place. But I think we have to be patient and slow and steady in housing. It's just not a quick switch. It's like inflation. It takes time to get us to a better place.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely takes time to find the right house. Used to be bidding wars. Now the question is, can you even find one? Bess Freedman, really great to see you. Thank you for being on.
Thank you. Good to see you, too.